I was still communicating with the originals, and it came to a point where I said, guys, now I'm beginning to feel awkward. I'm touring with these young guys, and they're loyal to me, and we're talking about a reunion. Now, I would really like to meet and jam, and I really would like to hear how you guys sound right now before I take my final decision, because I have the responsibility to tell them the truth, and because I don't feel good in my shoes right now with all this happening behind their backs, so let's speed it up, please. And so they rehearsed because, a couple of them had not played. Freddie Steady and Mark Kohler had left the show business professionally as musicians. It was only Chris and Fernando and myself who were still involved in show business, Mm-hmm. So anyway, we got rolling, and we got jamming, and we got smiling and feeling good about it. And that's when I had enough courage and gall to face my team and tell them, guys, this is it. It's a part of history of Krokus. The originals are coming back together. I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but I was so amazed. They stood up and came to me and hugged me and said, "We understand," and it was pretty emotional, and I'm so glad it turned out that way,
Wow.
And we're still friends, and we still talk, and it ended up in a really nice way, actually.
Yeah. Well, that's quite a story there. That's quite a story, because that Hellraiser CD was a pretty successful one as well. I mean, that would, I think, went #1 the first day or something outstanding like that in Switzerland, right?
Well, Rock the Block went #1.
No. Hellraiser. Didn't Hellraiser do really well the first day on the charts?
And Hellraiser went #2 first
#2.
day.
Yeah.
So, not much difference.
No, not at all.
We both went gold on the first day.
That's incredible. Now, I want to ask you some questions about back in the 1983 when you guys went out with Def Leppard on that tour. That tour was a pretty big tour for Krokus. You guys were not headlining, but you were supporting a lot of stadium and arena acts then. But the Def Leppard one kind of seemed to bring the band to the next level, especially with the strength of Headhunter. How was that tour, and how influential was it playing with Def Leppard at that time in your career?
It was very big. It was, as you said, it was the tour of 1983. It was the biggest selling tour of 1983. And you have to consider that Michael Jackson was at #1 with Thriller doing the moonwalk during the same year. So this was a big year for music in general. And for us, coming from Switzerland, we were at number 24 in the Billboard charts, So it was like, for us, we felt we were at #1 anyway, without looking at the difference in numbers. And it really was the biggest, the zenith of the Krokus career, considering how many people, how many fans we played to, and they were Def Leppard fans and Krokus fans in the audiences, and they were hysterical and wanted us back. And don't forget, the band had been touring non-stop 4 years running. So when we hit the crowd, when we hit the audiences with opening for Def Leppard, they really felt the energy, and that was very, very, for me, the biggest year in my life with this band.
Yeah. Now your style of music changed on the next album, The Blitz, and you also had some lineup changes. between the albums. What led to all that change in musical direction? Was it? I mean, I've heard rumors that it was because you guys were trying to sound more like Def Leppard because that was the sound at the time. Was that true, or was there something else behind that?
Well, what happened? There's a bit of truth in that, but the message came from our record company and even our agent, and it went down even to our own management that would we play more commercial songs? Would we look a little bit less wild? We would be having more girls like Def Leppard attending the concerts and buying the albums because the female audience was the main purchaser of CDs, of vinyl at that time. And if we made this step, it would be for the better of us. And the record company reached into their pockets and said they would double our budget, recording budget and so on. So Fernando and I looked at each other and thought, well, they must know what they're talking about. Whereas Chris Von Rohr put his foot down and said, hey, no, that's not Krokus. This Krokus is this is what Krokus is all about. We've got to keep our identity. And it took all these years to see that, Chris was right. Because actually, Hoodoo is what should have followed Headhunter instead of the Blitz.
Yeah.
When Chris was out of the picture due to this argument with, the record company and management, basically, then it was just Fernando, myself, and Mark Kohler. And we were told to kind of polish up the whole thing, the image and the sound. And that was going to be the way to number one, So, well, we were on the road non-stop, touring, writing, recording, touring, writing, recording, touring, writing, recording, and there's a time when all you see. There was a time when, even in spite of being number 24 in Billboard charts with Headhunter, we still thought, well, it's number 24. It feels like number one right now, but the figures could change so much if we were in the top 10 or the top 5.
Yeah.
You try and change the chemistry and file your songs in a different way and to achieve more. Which is, I guess, one of the human drives.
Sure.
It's a natural human drive to want to achieve, more. But sometimes people get over ambitious, maybe, And but anyway, now we have Hoodoo, and Hoodoo is actually what should have come after Headhunter. So it took a hell of a long time, but I think now, that record is finally here, and I'm lucky we're all still alive and healthy enough to have been able to do the reunion. We were creative enough to come up with the songs, and we have with the willpower to tour again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's hope we can play ball in the USA again.
Yeah, absolutely.